You're on India Today podcasts and you are in the sledging room. जो है सो है, जो नहीं है सो नहीं है. कौन कौन है अभी भाई वर्ल्ड कप सेमीफाइनल्स में? We have India versus New Zealand at the Wankhede Stadium and we have Australia versus South Africa at the Eden Gardens. The 2023 World Cup is right at the zenith of its business and this is what we were all waiting for. We had... how many of us got our prediction correct? I mean, no, I'm talking about pre-World Cup prediction. Only Saurabh.
I said...
Good stuff. What about you?
I had Pakistan there.
I don't know. I mean, by the way, well, a lot of people, not just Akshay, there are several people who had Pakistan in their semi-final lineup. I don't know why.
I don't know reasons though.
For emotional reasons.
For fun.
For
fun. To have fun. Wow. When they come and have another India-Pakistan semi-final.
India-Pakistan cricket.
Yeah.
That contest is, India's... I keep saying I'm bored. I'm even bored of repeating this.
Absolutely. I mean, Pakistan...
India are so much better.
And Pakistan are no match to Afghanistan.
And let's not even discuss Pakistan because of the ugly discourse from that side of the border. I'm sorry. A lot of people have praised a particular cricket show. Some of those quotes, some of that analysis has been all right, pretty good to watch with some with 2 or 3 former Pakistan captains. But apart from that, I'm really sorry to say that this discourse from Pakistan has been utterly disgusting and very, very, very difficult to hear. And you get to hear a lot of this nonsense because of social media and because news carries amplified. It's just really bad. So I don't want to talk about Pakistan. Not today. When you're talking of the 4 best teams in the World Cup deservingly making it to the semi-finals, we had discussed this after the first week of the World Cup. Saurabh, Akshay, if you remember, on the sledging room, we said, look, no matter what our early prediction was, if you look at the week, this first week, 10 days had gone, you're looking at India, New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. And of course, South Africa have been superb. Shock defeat to the Netherlands in Dharamshala. But I don't know, had it not been rain affected, I don't think there would have been that kind of an upset.
Yeah.
And India have just bulldozed everyone who've come along the way. So now, look at how the points table stands, right? India, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. India have defeated all the other 3.
Yes.
South Africa have defeated Australia and New Zealand. Australia have lost to South Africa and India. And
beaten New Zealand.
So it's
New Zealand have lost to all the other 3.
New Zealand have lost to all the other 3. And the race to the semi-finals was as intense as 2019. I mean, maybe not even as intense because Pakistan, for all facts and purposes, everybody talked about how they needed to beat England by a certain margin. Forget net run rate. They didn't even have enough points. I mean, at the end of the day, it was also about points. You just did not... That the team lacked the clarity.
Maybe if Afghanistan had not had Maxwell doing what he did to them,
who knows?
That would have been a closer contest than Pakistan.
Exactly. And Saurabh, before we get to the semi-final lineup, Afghanistan, what a performance. Yes. They should be very proud.
Absolutely.
England, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, vanquished.
Bangladesh. Don't miss Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, definitely.
Poorly underperformed in the World Cup.
Horrible at the World Cup. And then they nearly had Australia.
Yeah.
They almost had them on the mat. It was a freakish Glenn Maxwell innings. Had they defeated Australia, I get a feeling they would have also defeated South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw that match, before Maxwell played that one of the greatest ODI knocks, I mean, scoring 200 with one leg and the kind of hamstring injury he was going through, he was not able to run. Afghanistan were right on top of Australia. If you see the batting, I mean, first Afghanistan batter to score 100, Ibrahim Zadran.
Yeah.
Then Rashid Khan comes in, plays a blinder of a knock, takes apart Mitchell Stark, Pat Cummins, Hazelwood, whoever comes in his way. And then they're bowling. For the first 20 overs, it was all Afghanistan. Nobody was expecting Australia to make a comeback, but then came Glenn Maxwell. And that innings, actually, I think it's not just about that defeat. That innings demoralized Afghanistan team to that bit that they lost to South Africa also.
It was exactly, I mean, and they competed against South Africa. It's not like they were walkovers. I mean, there's this panache about the Afghan team. Also the captain going around distributing money to homeless people on the eve of Diwali. It was such a beautiful sight. That is the kind of stuff that you really want to watch in sport. It was beautiful to watch. Also, the fact is that Afghanistan have cultivated themselves well. They haven't got into jingoism. They haven't gone into that bickering that Sri Lanka and Bangladesh
almost
faced.
At every venue they had a victory lap.
Exactly.
Wherever they won.
And they had that.
They were loved by the crowd.
Exactly, right. They had the crowd at their back. And this is what I said a couple of weeks back, last week. Pakistan did not endear themselves to the Indian people as well. That Zaka Ashraf statement, horrible. Said India going to play in a Dushman Mulk. Look at what some of the former cricketers have said. Most recently, Abdul Razak. I mean, distasteful comments. I'm sorry, I don't even want to repeat them on the sledging room. Then you had some of their other cricketers making bizarre statements about how India are operating with different cricket balls and this and that. That sort of jingoism. Bangladesh with their Shakib versus Tamim debacle. Completely crazy. Sri Lanka again, it was shocking to see the way they went about the business. I know they won the qualifiers to come into the World Cup, but frankly, that the way they performed in the Asia Cup in the Super Fours, defeating Pakistan before that, really giving India a proper scare, I expected a little better from them. Afghanistan, thank goodness, they kept that momentum alive. By the end of that last week, you knew that the top four were going
rate was too much.
Yeah, too much. But you never know. Had they been able to get Glenn Maxwell, with that 30 minutes of madness also from the Afghanistan players on the field, nervous. I think that was just nerves. They are they're good feeling.
Had it rained in Bengaluru for the New Zealand-Sri Lanka clash, Afghanistan might have had a better chance.
Who knows?
Looking at how Pakistan folded meekly against England.
And Mohammed Abi came out and said that their first defeat against Bangladesh hurt them bad.
Yes.
I mean, how could they lose to Bangladesh in this World Cup?
Yeah.
It was not there to be, but it happened.
Exactly.
But I'm wondering, why are you both dilly-dallying around before, why are you not addressing the elephant in the room?
No, there's no elephant in the room. This is the big
deal
now. But look, you got to acknowledge the fact that Afghanistan have been superb.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So hats off to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody is ignoring anything. India versus New Zealand. We'll come to that. I mean, this is a 45-minute podcast. We have all the bandwidth to talk and glorify the great cricketing achievements. I mean, Rashid Khan is a global superstar. Mohammad Nabi, everybody knows about him. But the young guys, they're coming up the ranks. It was just so good to watch Afghanistan.
Even the captain, so charismatic. Hashmatullah Shahidi.
Very charismatic. I mean,
saying that, we are not happy with the performance.
Naveenul Haq was talked of because of his rivalry with that spat with Virat Kohli and how quickly that discourse changed.
Now, quite a few are wondering why he is retiring after the ODI
Exactly.
World Cup.
I mean, he had anyway announced his decision. A lot of people wouldn't want to see Quinton de Kock go.
Yes.
But okay, now to address India versus New Zealand. Akshay. Okay. Proper World Cup rivalry this.
Yes.
Forget India-Pakistan.
Yes.
India have never lost to
Overrated.
Pakistan. And over the next decades, I don't think India will lose to Pakistan in any of these World Cup clashes. But down to India versus New Zealand. Over the last few years, India lost the World Test Championship final. Before that, they lost the 2019 World Cup semi-final, the ODI World Cup semi-final.
And then the T20 World Cup match in 2021.
And the Champions Trophy final in 2000. Many, many years back, 23 years ago. But how is this Indian team stacked up? I know 4 years is a long time, but in sport, maybe, because we talk about it so much, it just doesn't seem to get out of our system.
Yeah.
Rain truncated match, July 9th/10th,
2 days.
2019.
Yeah.
New Zealand batted first. Average just about par score. India made a hash of it because they were 5 for 3. Yeah. And despite heroics from MS Dhoni and Ravindra Jadeja, India lost by 18 runs.
Did New Zealand actually sledge India by playing football in the training session in Mumbai? Kind of, it was 5 for 3 was a football score.
Or maybe Ten Bolt knew that he could not play football in the game now. The way Indian batters are playing.
Yes.
So he played it before the game, right?
Yes.
No, but if you look at conditions, that was also because there was rain.
Yes.
And by the way,
was it overcast
there
on
were
the
two
second
India
day?
matches which were affected by rain. Or no, maybe not two India rain. I mean, even the Pakistan game was rain affected.
Yeah.
But those two matches against New Zealand, one was washed out in the group stages, and then the other.
And New Zealand were actually lucky to get that point. Had they not
Yes,
gotten
yes.
that
They wouldn't have gone
point,
to the
they wouldn't have
semi-finals. They wouldn't have qualified
semi-final.
for the semis. But even
So,
now, I mean,
yes.
exactly right. So New Zealand had they've reached the last World Cup finals.
Yes.
even now, New Zealand haven't been
we
the
were
best
discussing this, Raj. New Zealand, as in we had the podcast a couple of weeks back, which said, we clearly stated that Afghanistan deserved the semi-final spot better than New Zealand. I'm sticking to that still.
Exactly.
Even in the 2021 World Test Championship cycle, there were discussions about how New Zealand were not the deserved.
But that
second
also happened
finalists.
because of the percentile point system, because of
Exactly.
COVID and how many.
In the middle of that cycle, that was changed. Now, yes, the
Australia
percentile,
was shocked, by the way.
Exactly.
They suddenly
the
realized.
PCT system still exists, but this has started from the start of the cycle. But that was changed midway during the cycle, and they were not the deserved finalists back then also. But they know how to win these knockout games. As in, they have found the art of at least winning the semi-finals. Let me not talk about finals.
I get your point, but Saurabh, Akshay, here's the thing. You look at the last few World Cup campaigns. I'll start from the 2000s. 2003, Australia were just superbly dominating. Yes, they won in 99 as well. But I don't think Australia were the best team in 99. It was probably South Africa up until the semi-finals. 2003, Australia were invincible. The next best team was India. Again, they were far above the rest of, head and shoulders above the other teams. 2007, no other team apart from Australia were as competitive. They were just dangerously good. Sri Lanka were very consistent, but again, you could see that they had those certain chinks in the armor. From 2011, India won the World Cup all right. And like I keep saying that I will always be emotionally connected to that team more than anything else because we saw that unfold in front of our eyes. Was that Indian team also as dominant as this one? 2015, you were unbeaten until the semi-finals. But yet again, you realize that there were certain chinks in the armor. Same in 2019. Your middle order was dodgy, to say the best. 2023, you're sorted. Openers in great form. Your number 3 is the leading run scorer in the World Cup as of this point, before the semi-finals. You have the middle order firing, thanks to Shreyas and KL Rahul. You have Surya Kumar Yadav. You have your 5 bowlers. I know New Zealand have that great record in the knockouts, but how do you beat this Indian team?
And just before you go there, and India's biggest fear came through. Hardik Pandya injury midway during the tournament, but they have adapted beautifully well. They have not looked like...
But we'll come to that Hardik Pandya angle differently as well, because
But when you were discussing the strengths and weaknesses...
But I view that as a different context as well, because I know what you're saying. But we'll come to that in just a bit. But
how do you stop this Indian juggernaut?
You can't. Can you?
I mean, you are seeing how dominant India have been. I mean, the only team to win 9 games on the trot in round stages. They are doing what Australia did in 2003 and Australia did in 2007. But there is one thing. I mean, we all have been talking about this, that India have failed to win an ICC trophy in the last 10 years. Will that pressure play into the mind of Indian players, captain, the management? It won't.
I don't think so.
How are you so confident?
Because I think I don't think there is anybody in that dressing room who would tell the players to go about their job any differently than what they've done over the last 1 month. Just do what you've been doing and they've been superbly done. I mean, every condition. They've mastered slow pitches, they've mastered good belters, they've mastered fast pitches, they've mastered swinging conditions. You don't need to do anything differently.
You know what happened the last time India played in Mumbai? 55 all out Sri Lanka. That's the kind
even
of
that doesn't matter.
Even
that doesn't matter because, I think obviously, Palra usi ka bhari hoga, whoever bats first, I think.
Yes.
But again, this is... I just think it's just...
But I do think...
India won a game against New Zealand by chasing, right? Virat Kohli starred in that chase.
Yes.
And by the way...
And don't forget that 40 ball 45 from Rohit Sharma.
Jadeja. And
Rohit Sharma, yes. Ravindra
Jadeja also played his part in taking India home.
And Rohit Sharma took down Trent Bolt. And at that time, Matt Henry was there, I think, before he got injured.
Does New Zealand have a chance if they get out Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli by any means? I mean, they try their luck, they try everything.
That context will come alive only if, say, New Zealand are batting first. They post 280, 290. Even that is not going to be easy against this bowling line.
Anything less than 280, I don't think New Zealand will be able to defend it even in Mumbai.
Even with those swinging conditions. I mean, now look, Rohit, people are drawing parallels between 2019 and now. But look at this Rohit Sharma as well. He has a strike rate of 122, 124 in this World Cup so far. Yes. Everybody's talking about his powerful, impactful starts. Great. Good, yes. But he's also adapted, even against England on a slowish pitch.
87.
India lost 2-3 wickets early and then he literally had to grind his way to 87.
Yeah.
And then there were contributions from Surya and KL and Surya and then Jadeja down the order. They got to a good enough total. But I don't think India have that sort of problem anymore. And Virat Kohli has comfortably slotted into that anchor role, which he's going to be, he's willing to play that out.
And don't forget, in 2019, we had a non-existent middle order.
Exactly.
Like, for instance, Rishabh Pant was very young at that time. He had not played a lot of international cricket, and he played at number 4. And Dinesh Karthik, I think, played at number 5 without having played a lot of matches before in that tournament. And former batting coach Sanjay Bangar asked MS Dhoni to bat at number 7.
Apparently. That's what Bangar said, yes.
Yes, asked MS Dhoni to bat at number 7. So there were so many problems. They were not able to find solutions for that number 4 and number 5 till the semi-final. As in, your Rohit Sharma was in terrific form, so all that was slid under the carpet. But this time, what has happened is, I think last year, at the start of last year, Rohit said that we have to be prepared for 10 for 3 situations. And it's not like they have not been 10 for 3. Even against Australia, even in that Asia Cup match against Pakistan, we have been in that situation. And the way our middle order has responded, I think that middle order is going to be the biggest difference between India winning a World Cup and losing in the semi-finals.
You know what the other good thing has been for India? Apart from the IPL earlier this year, they haven't played a lot of T20 cricket. Yes. Because when you saw these collapses, when you saw these things happen, I mean, look, in all fairness, like I keep saying, 2015, 2019, India was superb in the World Cups. One bad match here and there and sort of it kind of unfolded the way you didn't want it to. But a lot of the key players haven't played a lot of T20 cricket. So they've also got into the mindset of building innings in one-day cricket. Whether it's the Asia Cup, whether it's the tour of the West Indies where Rohit and Virat rested after the first 2 games. Even at the start of this year, India played several ODI series, right? Back-to-back.
Yes.
Australia, New Zealand, Sri
Exactly.
Lanka.
Yes.
And then one more series against Australia before the World Cup.
Another one sandwich between the Asia Cup and the World Cup. So India have played a lot of ODI cricket. They also know the art of building those innings. Shreyas Iyer, for example.
Yes.
Right? We were worried because it seemed like India did not have any backup plan. But on the hindsight, what we said was it's good if you're backing your horses.
Yes.
Because Shreyas Iyer knows how to build innings. I mean, remember when we started the Sledging, we said this would be a dream batting lineup. You just needed to find a consistent partner for Rohit Sharma. Yes. Then you had Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Rahul. Shubman Gill emerged. He rose like a meteor. It was a meteoric rise.
Absolutely.
Also talking of Hardik Pandya, since you mentioned that. Saurabh once said it was a blessing in disguise.
I mean, yes, if you ask me, I said this because this Indian team management was playing Shahrukh Thakur over Shami when Hardik was playing.
Imagine that luxury. Imagine that conviction. I couldn't understand that.
Yes.
When you don't have an all-rounder, you're playing a specialist bowler.
Yeah.
But when you had an all-rounder, you played another all-rounder.
I think that is because I think that they were being unfair to Hardik Pandya.
Yeah.
You were being unfair to his batting skills.
Exactly.
Because you were not sure of Hardik Pandya, the batter, which I would assume is unjust, and it's kind of wrong because he's delivered some superb knockout punches with the bat.
Maybe did they not expect Virat or KL or Shreyas to do this well?
I think they were They were also a little.
They
were a little worried about their batting lineup, right? Because your middle order was fumbling. Rohit, frankly, wasn't in the best of form leading into the World Cup or the Asia Cup. You had concerns with Virat Kohli's form as well.
Yeah.
Right? He scored half the runs that he scored in this year have come in this World Cup, which is, remarkable. You had a few hundreds at the start of the year against Bangladesh late last year. It seems so far back now, you don't even remember what happened in Bangladesh at the end of 2022. But here is a batting lineup where you would have thought that, look, Hardik Pandya and then these 5 bowlers, what a lineup that could be. So I think that's what they were doing. So it's not on Hardik Pandya. I think it's the team management. They were probably not very sure about their batting lineup. Yes. And that is why they were...
Yeah, and also these people had come back from injury, Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul. Like KL Rahul, yes, he did well in the Asia Cup. Shreyas had an injury
but Shreyas also scored that barnstorming 100 against Australia. So you knew that they could spend time in the middle. Yeah. It was... So I think maybe the Indian team also realized later that, look, Shardul Thakur throughout the World Cup wouldn't have been on.
Yes.
Or maybe he didn't even perform with the ball.
Yeah.
He was given a lot of chances.
Couple of games
till the Bangladesh game. He played till the Bangladesh game. And Hardik Pandya, when he got injured, Virat completed it over. But it was in that game that you had to use Shardul Thakur for 10 overs or 9 overs. And there you saw he was not up to the mark.
Yeah. And you let Bangladesh score 250.
And that is where you see Hardik Pandya's quality as an all-rounder.
Yeah.
To replace Hardik Pandya, you needed a batsman and you needed a bowler. But I think it's high time, that the Indian team started trusting his batting skills as much.
Yes.
Because they did that when Hardik had just come onto the scene, they would use, say, someone like Kedar Jadhav.
Yeah.
If Hardik was bowling 7 overs on an average, you would have Kedar Jadhav bowling 2 or 3 overs at the back end or in the middle overs to make up for those 10 overs from the fifth bowler. But I think now is the time where Hardik has significantly improved as a bowler. He's picked up pace.
Yeah.
And I think he's a very, very good batsman now. I mean, you
T20 batter definitely is.
I mean, Surya Kumar Yadav as well, right?
Yeah,
he,
of
as
course.
an accomplished T20 batter, he hadn't achieved a lot in one-day cricket, but you had to trust his skills. And he's not disappointed you. He's
Definitely.
scored some useful runs. Yeah. But New Zealand, they also have Kylie Jamieson, Akshay.
Yes, as in Kane Williamson was asked that question in the press conference on Tuesday.
Tall.
He was asked about the pitch in Mumbai, the bounce and all that, whether they will use Kane Williamson like a typical Kane Williamson. Use Kylie Jamieson like a typical Kane Williamson. We said he has to inspect the pitch and then take a call. He's happy that all 15 are fit for the...
There is also a wrist spinner waiting in the ranks for New Zealand.
Yes. Okay, I would ask you this question. If both of you were Kane Williamson, how would you beat this Indian team? What would you tell the team? What would you tell in the team meeting? What would your plan be?
Stick to your plans, but again, against this Indian team, you would also want to use a wrist spinner.
Okay.
And your left arm pacer, he's going to, probably be as he will play. I mean, he's not been as effective as he. I mean, he's a World Cup asset. He's a World Cup legend. Trent Bolt. He's not had the best World Cup, but probably a wrist spinner as well, who's sitting in the ranks. He hasn't had much to do in this World Cup, but do you not want to see him unfold against India? Not a useless batter as well. Lower down the order, he can do some damage.
But in place of whom?
That is the question now. Do you play Santner and Sodhi? Yes. Santner is an obvious. He picks himself. But Sodhi, who do you? I mean, Mark Chapman, for instance, you trust your top 5 to do the job.
Yes.
And then make a few chopping and changes. But I don't see a way in for Kylie Jamieson unless they decide to get rid of one of the
if New Zealand have to beat India, they need a personal heroic kind of knock. Somebody has to step up out of the way. I mean, you are facing an Indian team playing in home conditions, unbeaten in this World Cup. There is no chink in the armor as far as now, which we have seen. You talk about spin bowling, you talk about pace bowling, you talk about middle order, top order, lower order, wicket keeper. Everyone has stepped up in fielding, in batting and bowling. So you have to give it to New Zealand also that whatever they do in the group stages, when they play in the knockouts game, they are a different team. And I hope they will be able to present India with a formidable challenge, if not beat India, which I don't want them to beat India. But I hope it's going to be a cracker of a contest.
I think the only team that challenged India a bit during the league phase was New Zealand in Dharamsala. Like they took 6 wickets and then they troubled. You can't say troubled, but if you look at the scorecard, it might suggest that was a close match. I have an idea. What about bringing Ajaz Patel to play tomorrow at the Wankhede?
Why would you want to
10th wicket haul, the only guy who,
I think the only...
Yeah, that's maybe the only way that I am being very,
No, but again, how much of a role will spinners have at the Wankhede? No. Even that mindset, even that Ajaz Patel set.
It's a small venue.
Yeah, glad that you remember that. But
you know what? I don't see New Zealand even troubling India on Wednesday.
Neither do I. And again, I'll tell you, because this is why I drew those parallels between the Australian team of 2003 and this Indian team of 2023. No, I'm not even going to Australia of 1999 or 87 or even 2007. I think it's the Australian team of 2003 and this Indian team of 2023. In the last 20 years, I mean, even our viewers could do that. Point out one single team with this level of domination in a major tournament especially. I'm not even going back to the Australian team of 2015 or the Indian team of 2015, the Indian team of 2019. Pick one team apart from Australia 2003 World Cup and India 2023 World Cup. Pick one team that has been so dominant. So I think it's just the wave. They're riding a wave right now. And I don't see why this won't be 11-0 on the 19th of November.
Yeah, I mean, if this Indian team can't win the World Cup, I doubt there will be any other Indian team to win the World Cup.
No, I'll be literally surprised, Saurabh, because of the kind of impact that all of these guys have had. I mean, tell me how many teams, again, don't just bring up Indian teams, openers in form, you're number 3 on fire, number 4 setting new records, number 5 being so consistent, number 6 is a dangerous hitter. You can do any kind of damage in the last 10 or 5 overs.
Yeah.
Then you have 2 ace spinners and 3 of the best pacers in the world across formats right now.
If I have to recollect such dominance in the recent past, I think the Australia women's team in ICC events have been a cut above the rest.
Of course.
Like staying ahead of the pack. Like a cut above the rest.
100%.
Apart from that, I don't see anyone, since you said 2003, in the recent
in the
past,
last 20 years, can you think of any one
football club, Real Madrid in Champions League.
Yes.
I can't think of any other men's cricket team. To be
exactly. No, even with the women's cricket team, I thought that's a fantastic example. Yeah. Real Madrid, great example of complete and utter domination where you're so ruthless. Exactly. I know we used to speak of ruthlessness on the Kohli Shastri era, but I think that's where it started developing from.
Yes.
Look at Virat Kohli, for example. He copped a fair bit of criticism.
Yeah.
Even on the sledging route, we've questioned Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the T20 setup.
Yes.
Yes,
right?
we have.
But we also said that they were going to be crucial in that.
And there you don't have, I still think that we don't have the best team.
No, we don't. I mean, we'll talk about that later. But yes, obviously, Akshay, you're right. Yeah. The T20 setup still has some issues, but I'm sure this management will sort it out. But
do you think Rahul Dravid's presence will help the team?
I don't know. Maybe they need to look at a certain Ashish Nehra.
So
Hardik and Nehra.
I was scrolling through social media. I sent Akshay that tweet. We all know what happened in Chak De India, the movie.
Yeah.
A coach lost a World Cup. Then he went on to win. It's all in the movie. Yeah. Now we have Rahul Dravid.
It could be against the same opposition.
Oh, yes.
I think it's going to be India-Australia.
And you saw how Rahul Dravid captained the Indian team in 2007 World Cup. What a nightmarish campaign it was for us. We were knocked out in the group stage after losing to Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. And here we are under the guidance of Rahul Dravid. We have won the Asia Cup.
Imagine that would be so awesome, right? Over the last 25 years, India-Australia has been the greatest cricketing rivalry.
Yeah.
A lot of Australian cricketers will tell you this is bigger than the Ashes. It's certainly bigger than India-Pakistan because of the quality of cricket that you see on the field. And 20 years later, India versus Australia, Rahul Dravid coach, maybe Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Virendra Sehwag in attendance at the Narendra Modi Stadium. That would be iconic. I mean, this is something that I've always thought of.
Yeah.
20 years later, at the greatest cricket stadium in the world. Yeah. And you see...
And Rohit Sharma winning the toss in front of Ganguly.
Opting to bat first and then putting up 370, 380.
Yes.
No, I don't think you're going to get that kind of a total in a World Cup final, but wouldn't it be great? 300, 310.
Yeah. And for that, first Australia have to cross the South African hurdle.
I think they will. I think they will.
Because, you know why I think they will is because of the conditions. Had it been anywhere else.
No, but you know what? You win the toss, bat against South Africa, and maybe they mentally get out.
Yes.
It's been another issue with South Africa. They have been superb. They have been really good. Yeah. Lost to the Netherlands, chasing. They couldn't even make a fight of it against India. Blown away. And even against Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They were...
And I think South Africa would have hoped to play at Wankhede instead of Eden Gardens.
Yeah.
With the kind of performance they have been giving this World Cup.
On the flip side, they have 2 spinners. 2 high-quality spinners. Yeah. And we saw how the Kolkata pitch...
It can.
Ravindra Jadeja took 5 wickets against South Africa, if I'm not wrong.
And that masterclass from Virat Kohli as well. Everybody criticized him for his strike rate. That was silly.
I mean, that scoring 100 on that pitch.
Temba Bavuma stepping up. Maybe, I don't know, but it is... South Africa would have liked to play anywhere else because they were, like, say, in a venue like Mumbai or Delhi because of the short boundaries. But the dryness of the pitch, maybe if the pitch is similar to what India versus South Africa played, then I think Tabraiz Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj might have the edge over the lone spinner Adam Zampa.
But Zampa has been brilliant in this World Cup. And
that is one thing.
And this Australian team, I mean, you saw what Maxwell did coming at number 7.
But the other thing is, Australia versus South Africa has just been as intense as India versus New Zealand. 1999, that dropped catch from Herschel Gibbs. Apparently, Steve was said, mate, you just dropped the World Cup. To that World Cup semi-final, that, iconic scene last Dusner hurrying down that path. Alan Donald almost froze. It was like a brain fade moment if there was any.
Maybe if Alan Donald hasn't left India, he can stay back in Kolkata and watch.
He has. And then coming down to this particular semi-final, 24 years later, there is another replay of that semi-final. But even with this Australian team, I don't think they are as fearsome or as they don't exude that kind of confidence. Yes, Glenn Maxwell played that innings and everybody's talking about how it's one of the greatest ODI knock. A lot of people say this is the greatest ODI knock. I still go with Tendulkar's Desert Storm for different reasons and perspectives. Yes, this is the World Cup almost, but they think semi-final was on the line. It wasn't, because Australia, all they had to do was beat Bangladesh in the next game. Technically, yes, it was on the line. But again, for me, Afghanistan's inexperience. They had a great bowling lineup, but also inexperience. And you would assume that they would probably buck a little under pressure.
Yeah.
Now think back of it. 20 years later, 20 years earlier, you wouldn't have had anybody playing that kind of knock as an Australian number 6 or number 7.
Yeah.
Because that Australian team would have scampered down this total with 8 or 9 wickets at hand.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be talking about dropping one of your key players for the semi-final. Now there are reports that whether they should persist with Steve Smith or not.
Yeah, because they have Smith and Labuschagne doing what they do in the middle overs.
Yeah.
But I think Eden Gardens, you probably might need those two to counter the South African spin threat.
What do you think? South Africa all the way or Australia?
I think, I hate the word chokers, and, they use it so often for New Zealand and South Africa. But it's just the man-to-man wits and combination. We've laid down why India have the edge, not just the edge, they have the whole table over New Zealand and Australia over South Africa. Because South Africa, say what you will, they have shown the tendency to buckle under pressure. You saw that against Netherlands. You saw that against India, where they couldn't even fight.
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of wicket where you get rolled out for less than 100. And even against Afghanistan, they were under a bit of pressure.
If you saw that match, had it not been for David Miller and Andy Felquire, and most importantly, Rassie van der Dussen, they were going to lose that match also. Yeah. Afghanistan were right on top with 5 quick wickets.
Yeah. Should they kind of... Why will they try Temba Bavuma when the captain is not performing?
But now you don't have any other option, right? In the middle of the World Cup, you wouldn't have dropped your captain.
You can have Reza Hendricks.
Reza Hendricks has been playing really well.
The problem for them was, before the World Cup, Bavuma was in good form. He got some runs. So, unfortunately for them, he couldn't. But they still managed to reach the finals. They were second in the points table.
I was watching the 2015 semi-final as well that day. If you look at it, that bowling lineup, Dale Steyn, Morne Morkel and all that, and still losing to New Zealand after posting such a high total.
Exactly. That was, I think, Grant Elliott. That was a night from him.
Yes.
But again,
I also think that...
it was a horrible sight to see AB de Villiers in tears and Faf du Plessis. All of them were just heartbroken. They have another opportunity now, but again...
Mine says Australia, but I don't want Australia to...
I think it's India-Australia. Because against South Africa, the tendency to wilt under pressure, if they have to chase...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they have a chance only if they bat first. And that also their batters have to come and play on that sticky surface.
Yes.
So it's going to be a different challenge for them.
Even if Australia bat first and South Africa bowl brilliantly and Australia still managed to get a 250, 260, I still think it's Australia all the way.
Yeah.
Still think it's Australia all the way.
Especially how we have seen they have wilted under pressure while chasing.
Yeah.
You post any total, you ask them to chase, they will shake the leg. They will shake 2-3 legs.
Yeah. Imagine the mindset of Pat Cummins and the 3 teams who have not done well in the finals at all. And I am the only 5-time champion side. That's a good feeling to be in, right?
But if you see in this top 4 thing, there is a huge gulf between India and all 3 teams. So that will also come into play.
18 plus, I don't know how much South Africa finished with.
16 points.
14
points.
18, 14, 12, 10.
14, right? Australia also won 7 on the
14, I'm sorry, yes, 14
and 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Clinical, India. Ruthless, India. South Africa flamboyant, but obviously some major weaknesses in terms of chasing. India have been great while chasing. India have been great while defending. Australia, up and down. You could see that there are some inconsistencies. Travis said he came in with a bang, scored 100 on World Cup debut. After that, he sort of cooled off a little bit. David Warner, great campaign. But again, he's been blowing hot and cold. Smith and Labuschagne, concerns in that middle order lineup. But against South Africa on a sluggish Eden Gardens pitch, you'd probably want both of them to come in and play. Because you know that Inglis and Glenn Maxwell, lower down the order, they will do that sort of damage. And Inglis has given a pretty good review on account of himself, especially in that game against New Zealand. That was a quick cameo. And then you have 2 pacers who can bat. You have Stark and Cummins. You have that sort of bandwidth with the bat, and you also have the potential to play another all-rounder if you don't want to play either Smith or Labuschagne. Marcus Stoinis, Cameron Green. So you have some power hitters as well. But the problem is that they have Zampa, who's had a great World Cup. Even Glenn Maxwell, by the way, on a slow pitch, you never know.
Yes.
He can do the trick for you. and Smith and Labuschagne, if both of them are playing, you're probably expecting 6-7 overs from those two, if really it comes to that. But I still think man to man, South Africa have the edge. I think mentality is with Australia because they just know how to win these big games, and they'd be gutted having lost out the 2019 World Cup semi-final to England. Of every team in the world to have lost to England. They wouldn't have been particularly pleased.
They lost to England.
And two left-arm pacers who have dominated the last two World Cups have not been in the greatest of forms.
Exactly. Stark and Bolt.
It's time for them to step up.
Maybe, yes.
But I don't want Bolt to step up.
No, there's a lot in it for Australia as well. I mean, we keep talking about India, obviously, which is a great... they're in the middle of a great run. We keep talking about South Africa. But look at Australia. 2003 champions, 2007 champions. They started the century with 2 World Cups. 11 lost in the quarterfinals. 15 again they were champions. 19 they lost in the semifinals. So that record that they have this century, you just can't write them off. And I think they know how to win these big moments and these big tournaments.
Yes.
I would much rather we face Australia and South Africa in the final.
Absolutely.
I would much rather.
As an Indian, being an Indian fan, I would want India to win the World Cup.
But it would be more exciting if India.
But do you want to beat Australia in the final? I mean, after that 2003, whatever.
Yeah.
If you were given a choice before the semi-finals, I wouldn't have wanted to face New Zealand in the semi-finals.
My childhood scars will be washed off at one go if India were to beat Australia.
Exactly, my childhood scars as well.
Who can forget what Ricky Ponting did to us?
Exactly, Ricky Ponting. And 4 years ago, what happened to...
4 years ago, Akshay's childhood was in the middle of the India today.
But you were in college, right?
College.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there was a guy who just like Akshay who was sitting with me and doing that match.
I think one Akshay Ramesh is enough for the world to deal with. But on that note, quickly, final prediction. Mine is India-Australia.
India-South Africa.
India-South Africa.
India-South Africa. Okay, then it's just one India-Australia. Yes.
But no one's picking New Zealand-Australia.
No one is going to pick New Zealand. I'm not picking New Zealand.
No, it's not about being Indian fan also. You are seeing how India have been playing this
World Cup. Even as an Indian fan. I'm both an analyst and a fan.
Would we return on Friday with a good news.
We're returning on Friday with an India-Australia World Cup analysis. With an India-Australia World Cup final analysis.
Perfect.
I would be going for India-South Africa World Cup final.
Win the toss, bowl first.
Win the toss and bat first.
But if you bowl first, how much would you want to be chasing?
Not anything. I mean, if you're India chasing, 260, 270.
Below 250.
Below 250. I am saying that
250 is a mental pressure. There is a mental barrier there in a knockout game against.
But again, India is that kind of surface.
India chased 310 with 7 wickets to spare.
Okay.
We'll see about that. But India-Australia for me, India-South Africa for both Akshay and Saurabh. Yes. You let us know what do you think will be the final lineup on the 19th of November. But of course, India taking on New Zealand in the first semi-final at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai, the same venue where India defeated Sri Lanka 12 years ago in the final of the ODI World Cup. And of course, South Africa taking on 5-time champions Australia. South Africa eyeing their first ever ODI final berth. Can they make it? Can they come through? Can Akshay and Saurabh's prediction come true? What is yours? What do you think is going to happen over the next couple of days? Do let us know in your comments. And if you're watching the Sledging Room on the YouTube channel, of course, you should subscribe. You should follow. You should pitch in with your comments. And of course, if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, do review. Do leave some reviews for us. Leave your feedback. Leave your comments. And of course, we're coming to the end of the first season of the Sledging Room in a couple of episodes. And we'll be signing off with the first season. It all started, remember, guys, with India's performances. And we were talking up India's performances in the T20 World Cup, the World Test Championship, the Asia Cup, the Asian Games, for example. Yeah. And now coming to an end with the ODI World Cup. So we just about two episodes away from bringing the curtains down on the first season of the Sledging Room. Of course, the Sledging Room is going to continue. Of course, there'll be a lot of banter. There'll be a lot of hard-hitting questions being asked on this show. But you can count on us to keep doing that. But of course, we are also drawing towards the end of the ODI World Cup. It all started almost 2 years back now. Almost 2 years back.
Just
way before that, around the last IPL, and just after the last IPL.
I think May 2022.
Yes, it was around then. It was around then that we came into being and we hit the right airwaves with our questions and with our banter on and off the camera as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with a lot more this Friday, hopefully analysing previewing India's performance in the World Cup final. And for me, I wanted a mini Australia game. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. Thank you. You are on India Today Podcasts, and you are in the Sledging Room.